The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master, Jarod Bachman-Stubbs. Happy Valentine's Day, folks. Quick little piece of housekeeping before we get into this little news roundup today. First things first, I didn't mean to take a month off again. I got sick this time. I did not just quit the podcast for a month. I promise that didn't happen again. I got sick, and I apologize. There hasn't been anything. Next week, we should be having our Skeleton Crew season discussion with friend of the show, Brendan Marr from Page Turners They Were Not. We'll also be doing a season discussion of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with lots of other stuff coming down the pipeline, especially a very exciting crossover that'll be happening here soon as well on Knights of the Nerd Republic. More on that at a later date. But I am not alone. I am joined for this here little news roundup. Making a little tradition out of doing big game trailer talk with friend of the show, Armin from the ComicBookCast.
Hey, everybody. I am here. I'm back. I'm excited to be back. Despite what Jarod might tell you, he was sick. I saw his snaps. I saw what he was doing with the women. And by that, I mean nothing. He's telling the truth.
The only women I was romancing while I was sick was Shadowheart and Baldur's Gate 3, because I am fully addicted to that game now. They put crack in the code of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
it is just straight crack cocaine inside of the code for that game. I just finished my first playthrough and immediately started to after that. I'm working on a Dark Urge. And they have this incredible Star Wars mod that because everybody's like, all of my friends, especially Alden and Michael, have warned me that Dark Urge is a lot. And I was like, okay, so if the Dark Urge is going to be my shot, my chaser is going to be a little Star Wars playthrough I have going that has this amulet that gives you a bunch of force powers and turns all of like the traditional weapons into lightsabers. So I got my chaotic evil Dark Urge playthrough on one hand. I got my Star Wars one on the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, other piece of housekeeping real quick, to comply with the BDS boycott. This is something I was on the fence about. I didn't know in terms of participation how I was going to fall on this. We are not going to be covering Captain America Brave New World on the show. We're not going to be doing a review, anything like that. No shade, no hate to the people who are. Absolutely. That's kind of different decisions.
Hold on. What have I missed here? What am I missing here that's going on? What's the boycott about?
Oh, I mean, it's the boycott that's been in place pretty much since the beginning of Israel's occupation of Gaza, mostly to do with Sabra.
Yeah. That's what I figured, but I wasn't quite sure. Okay, can I just do a slight spoiler? Not really, though, in relation to Brave New World.
I know. Yes, and I know exactly what you're about to say.
Outside of the fact that there's only one sequence where a character turns around and goes, "Oh, she's an Israeli agent," there is nothing related to Sabra. The name, everything has been wiped out. You could tell it was reshoots. But I get it. And again, free Palestine. I just want to make sure people know I'm all for that. But also, I'm a Captain America fanboy. I had to see it for CBC. So, okay, I know what you're talking about. I just wasn't sure if it was that, because I know there's all sorts of boycotts we're all doing right now. Okay, I get it. So
Yeah. It's just one of those situations where, like, again, and these are one of those instances where everybody is gonna have a different takeaway on this and is gonna approach this differently. I'm not in the business of purity testing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I didn't see the movie. I saw it. I saw it for free. I timed this in such a way where between my AMC A list and a ass load of points I had from a double feature I did with Taylor, covered my movie ticket cost.
Nice.
So I was able to make peace with seeing the film, but I do not want to cover it on the channel. Like I said, I was able to get in there having literally not bought a ticket. Like I said, between A list and my points, my ticket costs were covered. So I was able to go in there knowing, feeling comfortable with the fact that I didn't pay to see the film. But we won't be covering it on the channel. There are plenty of people who will be. We're just not going to talk about this one. And that is a decision I am making executively. But with all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, Sunday's Bloody Mary. I'm not even going to attempt an ad pivot this time. Sunday's Bloody Mary is the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. You can also go ahead and check out their equally award-winning pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus if you want to get your freak on and garnish that bad boy. This former bartender trusts no Bloody Mary mix other than Sundays. It is the only Bloody Mary mix that can surpass a from-scratch Bloody. So if you want to change up your Bloody Mary game forever, use the link in the description down below and use code TNAP, TNAP at checkout to get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Moving into the meat and potatoes of the show, Armin.
Hold up, I got to do this since Travis isn't here.
Yes, both of us. In honor of Travi working.
Even though I'm only drinking Pepsi, it's fine, you know?
Yeah, I have my Diet Mountain Dew at 8:30 in the fucking morning.
Yep.
Fantastic Four trailer. We've actually not talked to each other about this.
I might just have to flip this down while I talk about it because there's going to be a scene that comes in where I just explode in white everywhere if I keep talking about this trailer anymore. So it's.
We need it. We need it because I as excited as I am for Fantastic Four First Steps, I have not made it a secret that I was very much on the fence about Pedro Pascal being cast as Reed Richards. These are one of those situations where I look at this and I go, this is one of the best actors working in Hollywood right now. This is a proven commodity. Pedro puts asses in seats. However, I was like, I don't see the vision quite yet. And I'm going to be honest, I think I'm still there a little bit just because there's not a whole lot of Reed in this trailer. Nope. So I want to hear your thoughts. And then we'll jump into the trailer from there. Your thoughts on the First Steps trailer. First Steps trailer.
Right. Let me start with the cast. I am still, with the entire cast, questioning every decision. Literally every single one of them. I'm still like, I need to see the film. I need to see the second trailer. Something later we're going to talk about as well. We're going to cover that. The second trailer sold me. The first one was still a little iffy on. But I can see, I think, through what they're going for. And I think Marvel and Kevin Feige specifically has realized if we make the Fantastic Four here like the old films, and if we don't give Reed enough personality, I think people will be turned off by it. So I think what we're going to get here is some sort of amalgam of, Din and Joel with a Marvel comedy infused into a triplet love child that they somehow had at once. And I think I get what they're going for. Outside of that, while I still question some of the casting till I see the next trailer and more clips, the trailer to me was perfect. It's enough of a suggestion to people that are not connected in our nerd sphere, right? That they're like, this looks off. Why? And then you kind of get the hints. Oh, it's not our New York. It's not the 60s New York. It opens up enough mystery that I think it draws people in. And I know this from watching Captain America last night with the people I was with. that had no idea this was a trailer. They were like, after the movie, they're like, wait, is that a multiverse film? Is there something going on? I was like, okay, so they're picking up on it subliminally. They get it. I love the aesthetics. I love the retro throwback. I love how finished the effects look in many ways.
Yeah.
They look far ahead of many other Marvel films, which definitely tells me that they're taking their time. I, I think that this looks like the first great Fantastic Four film. Now, I don't want this to be an insult because the 2005 film, I think, not Rise of the Silver Surfer, the other one. I
Yeah.
think that's a good film. I think that's a good Fantastic Four film. It's not great, it's good. And a good to me is like a 6, you know? So I think
Yeah.
it's like a 6, 6.5. This looks more like an 8. And I will take an 8 Fantastic Four over a Fantastic 2 out of 10 any day of the week. So, I really like what they're going for here.
Wow, I want to know how we got it a 2 for Fantastic. That is what I will say. Fantastic is one of the few movies I've never finished.
Well, see, there you go. That's how.
Yeah, like truly, like I think Fantastic is one of the very few movies that I put on and was not able to get through. Like I am a firm believer in, you and I have talked about enough of the Sony movies, so you've heard me say this before. I am very much somebody that no matter how bad the marketing for a picture is, I will sit down and I will give it its day in court.
Mm-hmm.
I will go in and I will do my damnedest to make sure that a movie is getting a fair shake as much as I can give it. I couldn't finish Fantastic. I couldn't. I got like 20 minutes in and I was like, I can't do this shit anymore.
In defense of Fantastic, I am going to defend it for a second so people understand.
Just going against the brand, everybody.
Right. Josh Trank had a vision that the studio stepped on and changed.
Of course, yeah.
I've seen elements I can't even talk about. People remember I was the first person to break the meltdown that happened on set of that film in Louisiana and how he was treating the actors. People were like, oh my God. I've seen things from Fantastic that people would not believe he wanted in that film. It looked tremendous. It was going to be a body horror Cronenberg style film. It wasn't going to be the standard Fantastic Four. It was going to be something new. And he had ideas. Tony Kebbell was a good actor. What they did to his Doctor Doom per Fox's demands needs to be studied by scientists in how to fuck everything up. Like, I thought the cast was decent. They had such a good idea. And it was all botched up right as they started shooting. So
I mean, the fallout from Fantastic is something that just had so many shockwaves. I mean, like you can track like we got entire Star Wars TV shows because Josh Trank crashed out because of Fantastic.
Yep.
And I say that as somebody who loves the Book of Boba Fett. Like I am one of the internet's few will die on the hill of Book of Boba Fett. But like that show 90% exists because Josh Trank crashed out and then Lucasfilm was like, ooh. And a lot of that's not its fault. It's one of those like compelling Hollywood horror stories. It's like all the horror stories we heard about Spider-Man 3, but on Suicide Squad on fucking steroids. But no, I agree on a lot of the trailer. I very much am sold on the vibe, and I will say, I am beyond excited for this movie. Like I said, the one thing that I'm desperate to see more of, and to see what his take on it's going to be is Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, and there's just not a whole lot of him in the trailer.
Yeah.
And that was like my only one point of disappointment, where I was I want to get more of this. I want to be able to sink my teeth into it because I trust Pedro. It's one of those again, I don't necessarily see it yet, but I trust everybody involved to sell it. The thing that I was very, very, very happy and impressed with was just within 40 seconds, how much I'm like, okay, yeah, they get Ben.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Sold. Perfect. Yep. And again, if I was going into this as skeptical as some others are, if I was going into this with less faith than other people, it would have just taken the look of the Thing and Eben Moss-Bacharach's performance that we got for me to be fully put at ease.
Uh-huh.
You know, that little bit of him with Herbie in the kitchen, incredible. Like there's just so much humanity and pathos in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it just feels so personal. It feels so human. You know, and that is what I really love. Like that little bit of him going like, "Oh yeah, that sauce, it's so good," and it's the little idiosyncrasies. I'm going to put a couple extra cloves of garlic in there, not because it's not good, because I want a little extra zip. And it's like the way he moves.
And
the way he moves, I was like, wow, like that is so smooth.
Yeah, and like we know for Ben Grimm, they used the physical suit and then they also did CG as well over it and CG independently for big action sequences. And you can tell, for once, you can tell this isn't like, and again, as somebody who loves the Spider-Man trilogy, and the middle one is my favorite one out of the MCU, you know, the one most people hate. I hate how Marvel Studios was like, that's a mighty fine suit we have in every film. What if we slap CG on top of it and remove every wrinkle that makes it look real? So every scene he almost looks fake. Like it's I'm glad we don't get that here, you know? Like he looks good, like tangibly there. It looks like something I could reach into the screen and be like, "Oh, it's a physical thing I can touch," you know?
Yeah, it did no, but that's so true. Like the Thing does have a very tactile look to him. Like I'm looking at him, and this is so weird to say, and I didn't even realize I was thinking about it like this until you said that. I know what the Thing feels like looking at him.
Yep. Yeah. It's something like they conveyed, and like there's a grime to the trailer as well. Like when Johnny flames on and jumps off the Baxter building, there's like
that like bit of
dirt.
detritus on the camera lens. Yeah.
Like man, that's such a it's such a little thing, but it adds so much to the film. And you see that everywhere. There's like a graininess to it. It's really like an impressive trailer. I will say, like Captain America Brave New World, I've already seen some people that have written this film off because of Silver Surfer. I get it. Um, she's a hardcore Zio. Yes, we know this. She was cast
Oh, I
again.
didn't know that. Fuck. Ah,
Yeah,
like Ozark's lady.
It's a lot of people have already pointed that out in some of her social media posts and dismissed this film. Again, you're gonna have to figure out what is and isn't. You could probably sleep better at night knowing that she's going to be killed off in this and not return. She's a standby Silver Surfer to be. She's a jobber in this. Okay, in wrestling terms, she's a jobber. Norrin Rad is the real Surfer. He's going to take over in the MCU. It is what it is here. So I guess some people's reluctance to even want to watch this, but again, the world we live in today, you know. So
yeah. I see. I didn't even know that going in. So I just knew her from my parents being like, "Oh, I love her in Ozarks." That's all I knew about her.
that's all I know about her as well. So people told me on like TikTok. I was like, wait, what? And then they just linked me to a bunch of videos. I was like, that makes sense now why people are not excited for this film. So I get it.
That element makes sense. I will say, like, and I say this like with this fully being news to me, I have a little bit of grace for people who, in the immediate aftermath of October 7th, were kind of talking out of their asses. Where it just in the immediate aftermath of like a very scary, horrific thing happened, and then a lot of people kind of like had a knee jerk, like, you know, we stand together, kind of rah rah, like,
Yeah.
you know, I have more grace for people who like immediately went, oh no, a bad thing happened, and
Right.
reacted to that. Who then is there? And there's a lot of people, a lot of famous people who had an immediate reaction to October 7th, kind of popped off and ran their mouth, and then have been very fucking quiet since.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that silence is the deafening sound of somebody going, "Oh, I reacted to a terror attack, and then I watched the absolutely insane, inhumane fallout that came
Right.
after,
Yep.
and I'm just not going to speak on it."
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, I am very, very excited by the trailer. I do have a little theory. That I wanted to share before we transition into Thunderbolts talk.
Yeah.
I think, and this is based on like this is a mix of like rumblings I've heard and things that I think are kind of like written on the wall kind of here. So obviously this is in its own this is mostly on its own earth with like the retro futuristic, New York and everything. I think that one shot of Galactus looking at New York, I do not think that is the New York from the Fantastic Four reality. It does not, like, the colored palette is completely different.
I get what you're saying. The skyline doesn't match up to retrofuturism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That looks like the Sacred Timeline, New York City.
Yeah.
And I do think I do think inside of the confines of this film, I think that the Fantastic Four is going to end up on the Sacred Timeline. And I think that the final battle with Galactus is going to happen within the confines of the Sacred Timeline. I do not think that is the Fantastic Four New York with that one shot where Galactus is looking upon the city.
Yeah.
I think that is inside of the Sacred Timeline. And I do really like the idea that they're leading into this idea that Reed knows about Galactus.
Right. I mean,
and he might be keeping that shit to himself, and that's like all of the crazy equations he's doing and everything.
Right. And like if you watch the trailer, there's 2 scenes in it where Sue Storm is walking. She has a flat stomach, but she's waddling in both of them.
Yeah,
Franklin Richards is in this. And wouldn't it make sense if Franklin, because he can create and kill universes from like a single thought. What if they kind of change that a little bit? What if he opens up a veil for them to escape through? They escape to the 616, which Reed found, and then Galactus follows through. There's a third act. Like I think that could honestly be how they do it. As their universe is collapsing, they escape. Galactus ends up there as well. Galactus isn't going to end up defeated. He's just going to end up kind of like off in the edges of space, and he's going to start to find a new herald. Hey, there's Norrin Rad. There's Zenlaw. Like I do think you're onto something there because unless the CG isn't finished, that's not their New York. There's no way it is.
And I forgot about like the hidden baby bump, where Sue is definitely fucking pregnant.
Oh my god, yeah.
Even if those 2 moments are like early in the film, and like we don't quite know how time is passing in the movie, where like it's like Revenge of the Sith, like that movie. Like I remember how like the amount of debates until they finally set it in stone for the canon. Like, does Revenge of the Sith take place over the course of a few months or a few days? And like everybody, and like the main sticking point for that is Padme's baby bump. Which is made even harder to track by the fact that as the movie goes on, costuming hides it less. It's like, is Padme wearing baggy clothing in public, or is it, whatever? I think a similar thing is happening here, and I agree with you 100%. I think it's going to have something to do with the kids. But I'm very excited for Fantastic Four. Again, I didn't know about what's her face, but that's something we'll tackle and sort out as time goes on.
That's how it goes.
So it goes anymore. Moving on into other trailer talk, our big game trailer talk. I'm getting more and more excited for Thunderbolts. I am getting much more excited for Thunderbolts. I think that this is going to be the sleeper hit of this year for the MCU. I think like everybody, I think, kind of went into Brave New World a little trepidatious. Again, I am a firm like reshoots do not equal bad. Reshoots can be a bad sign. but you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Again, everybody talks about, look at Suicide Squad. Sure,
Right.
that movie ended up becoming unintelligible by the end because of all the reshoots and all the weird shit. But also Rogue One.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody glazes Rogue One, and that movie went through just as much, like, just as many production and woes and insanity as Suicide Squad or Brave New
And
World.
I know people love to hate on it. Solo as well. Solo's in my top 3 Star Wars films.
Yeah.
And that film went through a massive reshoot, changed the director, changed complete, literally sets and characters and how they were presented. It's a miracle that film is coherent, but it
Yeah.
is. So,
I mean, listen, I go to Rogue One because everybody glazes Rogue One.
Yeah.
You and me and a bunch of my friends are in like the elite few who recognize Solo as the superior a Star Wars story anthology movie.
See, we can just say Mitch wrong, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Mitch wrong.
Hey, you said it, not me. But
he's the one that Solo, therefore he's wrong.
Listen, I don't understand how anybody dislikes Solo. I don't understand how you can watch that movie and not have a fucking blast.
It's true. It's so good.
And that's coming from Mr. Like, I have a hard time with Star Wars when there's no Force. That's coming from me.
That's how you know. That's
me. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, granted, I got Childish Landino and Darth Maul in there, but still,
right?
Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really liking this trailer. I remember we were all in the group chat, me and a bunch of my other, like, my Star Wars content creator buddies. And Scotty J-Row, who is very much a casual MCU fan. Like, he is one of the people whose temperature I love to take because he does not know shit about the comics. He loves the MCU, but is not somebody who is also like foaming at the mouth to make sure he's up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched the trailer for Thunderbolts, the Super Bowl trailer. And he said, who is the villain and why aren't they showing him?
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I immediately texted back. I was like, I don't know if I can answer that question without spoiling the movie for you.
Right.
Because I can see exactly what they're doing. And I think it's brilliant.
It is.
And then Alden immediately was like, so here's what's going on. And I was like, okay, well, he told. I am very intrigued by how they're handling Sentry / the Void.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that effect. See, welcome. This is vintage TNAP where I didn't turn off any of my alarms. I very much love the effect of the like shadow zapping.
Mm-hmm.
That is horrific.
Yeah.
That might be one of the scariest things in all of the MCU is that like shadow zap. Yeah, I was really sold by this trailer. I'm glad that they are very much leaning into the idea that it's kind of insane that this team of people is being sent to deal with the Sentry. We what does Yelena say? Oh, we all just punch and shoot.
Yes.
I'm glad that's being acknowledged. Armin, how are you feeling about Thunderbolts?
Full disclosure, Yelena is currently like my number 1 favorite MCU character, tied with Captain America, Sam Wilson. I have her hot toy here. I have a second one coming in. I have Winter Soldier right here. I have John Walker right here. I have Taskmaster right here. I would have Ghost. They didn't make her, but you can tell I love everybody on this team. Red Guardian as well. Like, I'm excited.
Oh, that's my boy.
And
that's my boy.
Looking at this trailer, the first one, fine. It is what it is. It's a teaser. This second trailer that dropped, this is the trailer that I think would have sold the film to everybody had it been the first one. A lot of mystery. The banter is there. It looks a lot more coherent. It gives us story elements. A way I like to gauge a Marvel movie interest is my dad. He'll go see maybe 2 films a year. He's sick. He can't leave the house too much because it's going to cause him pain. But when he tells me he watched a trailer and he wants to see it, I'm like, okay, it's done something. 2 trailers this year. Captain America, he came and saw with us last night, and Thunderbolts is the other one. He is so hyped for this film just by the sheer fact that it's like, oh, it's those characters I've seen before and I like, and it has that slapsticky Marvel humor with a serious tone. It reminds him almost of like Guardians and Avengers to a degree. John Walker dropping one-liners and all that. I love this trailer. I like this way more than the Fantastic Four trailer. But again, I am the Captain America boots on the ground type guy. I love that type of stuff more than the super gods and everything. And funny enough, this is like Suicide Squad. Literally, you could.
Yeah.
I said this on this week's CBC podcast. You could take Amanda Waller talking about how we need to put together a team in case Superman shows up, impose it over this trailer, and it's seamless.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing. And I find that that's great. I want to know more about Sentry and Void. It looks like it's, again, I know it's a cliche, but it's Marvel Studios back to form. But it is what it looks like. So, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited by this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I get as frustrated as I know you do with a lot of the like conversations happening about the current state of the MCU. I think that again, I'm not here to go to bat for the Walt Disney Corporation. I'm not here to go to bat for $1 billion, $1 trillion fucking companies. But I do think that it is very clear to see that for the longest time, the MCU and Star Wars have not gotten a fair shake.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is just a kind of like devoid of nuance Disney bad.
Oh my God, yeah.
That then again I find in bad faith. There is plenty to criticize.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Pardon me. Still getting over the cold. That company over. There is plenty to criticize for the MCU and Star Wars over that it comes from a genuine place. A lot of the conversations are dog shit and are in bad faith and are incoherent.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the like, oh, the MCU fell off after Endgame. That was a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I remember all of the people, even independent of like the weird fandom menace shit, which creeps into these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep it out. But even outside of the weird fandom menace bullshit, like the amount of people I saw kind of like preemptively go, the MCU will be bad now.
Yep.
Either that was writing on the wall, and it's how we ended up with like every other project is the death knell or the rebirth of the MCU.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an accident that, everybody kind of collectively agreed that the MCU would be dead every time it would start a woman or a person of color, and it would come back every time there was a white man or there was a movie that was designed to be a crowd pop. I don't think that's by accident. I don't think it is a coincidence that it happened like that. That every time it's dead, it's Ms. Marvel, and every time it's back, it's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep.
I don't think that happened by accident. I think that's a lot of like pre-baked in biases that, frankly, I think a lot of Marvel fans have done a better job at hiding that kind of like implicit bigotry better than Star Wars fans have. Again, am I saying that if you don't like the latest MCU entries that you're inherently a hateful? No, I'm just saying that unconscious biases are a thing, and I think it's a problem. That said, Thunderbolts I think is going to be really exciting.
So I just want to say I'm glad you brought up the whole women bad, right? Because do you know the original Black Widow movie, right? Before they reshot elements of it and made Taskmaster a woman, you can tell that there is a man in that suit during certain scenes before they like shrunk the body down, right? We know that the stunt double was a man, and the original reveal was going to be that Black Widow's Natasha's friend. I can't remember his name right now. He was
the pilot guy.
Yeah. He was supposed to be Taskmaster. They changed that at the last minute and made it a woman. right? And people are like, there's entire videos and dumbasses on TikTok being like, this film would have been so much better, a 9 out of 10, had they just kept that in there. I'm like, so the film is exactly the same, but the reveal is that it's a guy, and then it's a better film. Okay, just tell me you're sexist. Like I fucking hate that shit, dude. I hate it.
And with the reveal, like Taskmaster being a woman and it being Dragovich, is that the guy's name?
Yeah,
Something
yeah, I
like
know who
that.
you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, the Red Room guy. It being the Red Room guy's daughter, like that is so thematically resonant with what the Black Widow film is about.
yeah,
You
yep,
know, it's one of the situations where it's like, yes, like comic accurate, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, whenever you want it, whatever
right,
it means, whatever you want it to. Um, Schrodinger's continuity.
right.
Um, sure, whatever. If that's your main criteria, then sure, fine. But the reveal I think does carry a lot more weight as it is in the film.
Yeah, and like,
Um,
imagine if Natasha's like, "Who is it?" And then he takes his mask off, and it's her friend. Here's a giant plot hole. Why didn't he just pull a bullet in her when she's bent over to sink and he walks in and sees her? Why didn't he just put one in her neck and she's dead? There's a
yeah.
giant plot hole for the entire film. Like, come on, guys. Like,
Yeah, you
yeah,
have there's a lot of like you have to justify a lot
hmm,
of his choices from that. Yeah, I agree completely.
exactly.
But yeah, no, I am very excited by this. There's a lot of characters in the MCU that I'm excited that we get to hang out with again through this film. You know, I think that, you know, again, being very honest about what has happened in the
Yeah.
real world. Um, with COVID, with the Jonathan Majors of it all,
Oh
kind of
yeah.
throwing a wrench into things that like it resulted in the MCU being in a holding pattern for a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't think obviously the output suffered from it in the same way that every major like commercial creative product had like a weird phase in the early 2020s.
Yep.
Um, for all of the people who like to throw weird temper tantrums about Obi-Wan Kenobi not getting its due, like I'm sorry, that was a COVID production.
Yep.
That is one of the most COVID productions to ever COVID production. And the fact that that show is as good as it is, despite everything it had to go through,
Yeah.
is astounding.
Hmm.
You know, um, but we're finally getting to catch back up with U.S. Agent and Red Guardian and Yelena Belova because we haven't seen her in a hot minute. You know, we haven't seen her since what? Fucking Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so we're finally getting to kick it with her again. You know, I'm excited to see Ghost. I'm excited to see Taskmaster. You know, obviously Bucky. You know, like it's really nice to get to catch up with a lot of characters who kind of entered the scene at like the waxing stage or the
Yep.
waning stage of phase 3 or the very beginning of phase 4. We got a lot of our here are our brand new heroes coming off the conveyor belt here. We got our Shang-Chi's and our Ms. Marvels, and like all of them had their time in the sun, and I like those projects a lot. But it is very exciting that we now get to kind of like catch back up with the forebears
Yeah.
of
100%.
phase 4. So I am very excited for this. I'm very interested to see where it's going. A quick detour out of Marvel. We'll be coming back into Marvel, but just a quick little detour story that I added last minute. One finger on the monkey's paw closed the other day that I have some mixed opinions about. So we are getting a Dungeons and Dragons live action show at Netflix,
No.
which I am pumped for.
Damn it.
However, this did come at the cost of a sequel and or sequel series from the D&D movie that came out a couple years ago, Honor Among Thieves, which I loved. I loved that
Same.
movie.
Same.
I was very much of the opinion that I was like, if we get a sequel to this, I want a brand new cast. I want
Because
these
of that
movies.
movie, I started playing D&D with a group of people. Like, that got us all interested in my best friend to start up a campaign. So, and like, remember, who was that produced? I think it was Universal, right? Because, or
Paramount,
it was
Paramount,
Paramount. Paramount.
Paramount.
Because Paramount Plus was going to be developing a streaming series based on D&D up until the whole Hasbro thing happened, and then the split, and now I guess it's on Netflix. So now I'm not as excited because Netflix. I'll be real with you, just Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's valid. But yeah, this is from the Variety article from Joel Otterson. Variety has confirmed with sources that a new iteration of the project is currently in development at Netflix. There had previously been a D&D series set up at Paramount Plus with a series order, but that project ultimately did not move forward due to strategic shifts at Paramount, as well as the sale of co-studio E1 by Hasbro. Hasbro Entertainment is also producing the new project. The series is currently titled The Forgotten Realms, named after the famous Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting. Drew Crivello, who was previously attached as well as the showrunner for the Paramount Plus project, will serve as writer, EP, and showrunner on the Netflix version. Sean Levy of Deadpool and Wolverine will executive produce along with Dan Levine via 21 Laps under the company's overall TV deal with Netflix. Yeah. So again, originally this is meant to be in tandem with the Honor Among Thieves movie. That is no longer the case, which I am disappointed by the fact that it won't be in that same continuity. But again, like I said, it's kind of like a monkey's paw situation. I am excited to see more like Dungeons and Dragons, like on screen material. But I very much wanted it to be in that same tone and that same vibe as the film.
Yeah, my biggest issue here is Paramount and Peacock, to both of those, right? When they make a series, they get the next season out within a year. I don't understand how they were able to pump out quality Star Trek projects one on top of the other outside of Section 31, because that's dog shit. But outside of that, it's been all good to great to masterful Star Trek for the last decade. And Netflix, I know how it's going to go. We're talking about it right now. We're going to get this maybe in the first half of 2027. It's going to be 8 episodes if we're lucky. They're going to wait to renew it by 3 months. We're going to get the next season in 2029, maybe 8 episodes, and we're never going to see it. And that's the Netflix pattern. And I'm so sick of what they've done to TV. Like, have you heard the reports that we might not get the final season of Stranger Things till spring of next year now?
I'm so unsurprised by that.
What the fuck? Like, you've been working on this for 4 years. Like, what is happening? Like, my God, it's frustrating watching anything on Netflix, which is now why I sub once a year for a month. I catch up on the 5 TV series I missed, and I'm like, all right, there's nothing else for another 2 years now, maybe. Like,
I did not regularly use our Netflix until Pro and Noob for Evangelion. And now I use Netflix every Monday. But other than that, I was like not using Netflix at all. That was a Taylor thing for watching Bridgerton and whatnot. And I was like, there's really nothing on Netflix for me these days. But I understand the feeling. Again, here's a live look at Armin looking at Netflix's streaming model.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We haven't used that one in a minute.
Accurate as fuck. Like, I'm waiting. Dude, Wednesday came at me out of nowhere. I fell in love with that series, and apparently I'm gonna have to wait till maybe next year to see the next season. So that's cool. That's great.
That's brutal.
Thank God I watched it a year and a half after it came out.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm excited for more D&D stuff. Not in love with how Netflix has been handling a lot of this stuff either. So, it's kind of a mixed bag. One last story into a little bit of a discussion. Not a full discussion because I'm not completely caught up. I watched a few episodes last night. Armin, I have a question for you. And I'm just going to read this out of the show notes as I have it.
Okay.
Is Spider-Man an idiot?
Yes. The one we're talking about, yes, he is.
Okay. Quick shouts out to Anytime with Ken and Alden. If you are not subscribed to that YouTube channel, please go check it out. It is my dear friend Alden Diaz doing like a weekly live talk show with Ken Knapsack of Force Center fame. It is required viewing for me every Friday. I love the show. I would love it if it weren't one of my best friends working with somebody whom I have looked up to almost as long as I have looked up to this fucking guy. So like it's great. It's not just me glazing my friends. But they had a great episode a couple weeks ago that was simply titled "Spider-Man Has Always Been Woke Dipshit." That I absolutely loved, and it was them talking about the just how woke means nothing at this point. Like it never meant anything, but it's extra just vapid now. So Hudson Thames, who voiced Spider-Man in What If, he's also voicing Spider-Man in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm just gonna read the quote because I haven't gotten a chance to unpack this on air yet.
Oh, you haven't gotten a chance to unpack he's an idiot? But yeah, okay, let's see it in real time.
So direct quote from an interview with Collider, which I already have my own fucking opinions about. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the people I know who work at Collider, and the word work is doing a lot of heavy fucking lifting.
Yeah.
The people who I know work in editorial not having a more forceful reaction to this in public, you feckless fucking cowards. I get you need to maintain your access and shit, but fuck you. But Hudson Thames said in this interview with Collider, I thought it was awesome. I mean, my biggest fear was that it was going to be woke and annoying, and it wasn't. I was like, yes, this is great. It's so well written. Like, it feels real. I'm the oldest of 5 boys, so I feel like I kind of know what's happening in the lives and in high school, and it just felt like it was doing that justice. Now, credit where credit is due. In the article, that quote is immediately followed up by an explanation of the woke dog whistle and the fact that, Coleman Domingo has been getting shit for being the Black Norman Osborn, whatever. Right. So, like, cool, whatever. But there are people who work there that the fact that they said nothing is deafening. Anyway. I desperately want to know what the fuck this means.
Okay.
Like what do you mean? What do you mean you didn't want it to be woke? Peter Parker's the only white character in the fucking show. What do you mean? What do you actually fucking mean?
I had a theory about this.
So beside myself. Like this is one of the most because I've seen like the first half of the show now. Like I got to the end of the episode.
I've seen the first 2, and that's it.
I think I'm up to 4 or 5. Like I just got to the end of the first time he wears this version of the Future Foundation suit, which looks great. But like it's like reading this, having seen more than half of the show at this point. Like this statement reads like somebody going, I went to the swimming pool and I got in the pool and I was so surprised I didn't get wet. What? I don't want to ingratiate. I don't want to use the term woke, Like I don't want to play in that fucking swimming pool, to like really mix the metaphors here, coming back to the swimming pool thing again. But I really don't want to use that term with any amount of seriousness. But I can't remember the last wokest thing I watched that wasn't this.
So here's my guess. he is naturally, he's young.
Yeah.
And I think he's fallen for the I'm young, my brain's not fully formed. I searched Spider-Man on YouTube, and after watching one trailer, I got served grifter content, and I think he just fell for it. That's what I think it is. Like I've seen people I know who are smart, and they are like pro LGBTQ plus. I've seen them say things like, "Man, I hope the new Spider-Man sequels aren't woke," and I'm like, "Bro, you're literally like Polly. What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, they're that dumb. Like, I just think if you watch something on YouTube, I think you just kind of start repeating what they're saying without knowing what they're saying because they don't even know what they're saying because they're complete fucking idiots. Like, the DEI, everything's fucking DEI now. They, I fucking hate this culture.
I mean, I do too. I just truly don't get it.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
like, fuck me. Like, again, I don't agree with the premise. You know, like the premise is dumb. Like, again, that's like they said on Anytime, Spider-Man has always been woke. This has always been a downtrodden Jewish hero of the fucking people.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't understand. I fundamentally don't understand like what he means. I hoped it wasn't woke. Like, I want to sit down with Hudson Thames and be like, what does woke mean to you? Because what I see is Peter Parker is the one white guy hanging out with just a bottomless cast of people of color. You know, like the one friend is like very clearly queer coded. You know, we got like Black Excellence Osborne family. Like, what the fuck do you mean you hoped it wasn't woke?
So,
Because
okay,
again, Spider-Man is always going to be woke. Like,
always.
I need again, like that is like that is the baseline. That is the baseline. Right. Like Spider-Man is he is a populist hero. End of discussion. And that's true in the MCU too. Fucking high top. Okay, that's true in the MCU too. But like I don't get, you know, like it's kind of like Star Wars, where it's like if you were a staunch conservative and you love Star Wars, I don't understand how your brain works. I truly don't.
Yeah.
I truly don't. I do not understand how you can like be a like stand for the flag and kneel at the cross Star Wars fan when like the Ewoks are the Viet fucking Kong. Like whatever. Fine. You don't get it. Like there's a baseline of not getting it that a lot of fans are at, and that's whatever. But like this show in particular.
Yeah.
Like this is the first time I have seen on screen somebody have Peter Parker do the most Spider-Man thing ever of have him return somebody who stole money from the pizza shop and go, hey, they fell on hard times. Here's your money back. I would like to personally request that you not pursue like pressing charges on this person. Right. Like it's very similar to how the Insomniac games fully pivoted away from Peter Parker working with the police.
Oh yeah,
in Spider-Man 2, and nobody fucking talked about it. Nobody talked about the fact that Peter Parker has no working relationship with the NYPD after Yuri Watanabe.
That glaze that game, ignore all of its faults in all 3 games and just pretend it's perfect. Like if the MCU was to make any change that game had, it would be called woke and not true Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man fans are honestly, most of them are fucking dumb.
Oh
like, it's just they don't get it. They don't get it.
They I mean, but it's like Star Wars. Like Spider-Man and Star Wars like have that same overlap of like nobody hates this character and nobody hates this story more than these fans, especially when it is told in the most like true to its roots way. And I am a big defender of Spider-Man 2. I go to bat for that game, I think, more than most people.
Same. It's my game of the year for 2023.
And I love that. It's my favorite game of that like little trilogy. Truly, like I think it's incredible, and it's just. But like what I was saying with like Peter and Miles having no real relationship with NYPD in Spider-Man 2, like it's not a criticism. I think it's a great character beat. I think it's a great unspoken character beat that requires you, the player, to pay attention.
Right. Yep.
You know, to go, oh, like after everything that happened in Miles' game. And after Peter watched Yuri Watanabe crash out the way she did, Peter doesn't work with NYPD anymore. He is constantly in communication with EMS and firefighters. Peter Parker doesn't fuck with the cops in Spider-Man 2.
Because Insomniac tackles modern-day issues in subtlety. And, okay, tell me this. You know the comedian, he's probably popped up on your Instagram or TikTok, Walter Masterson? He's hilarious. Like, he went to a anti-Palestine rally dressed up as a stormtrooper, being like, we're correct.
Yeah.
You know, like, dude, he's hilarious.
Yeah, Alderaan was asking for it. Yes. They were harboring terrorists on Alderaan.
I have a feeling that he could walk up to Hudson Thames and be like, so Spider-Man is woke. Tell me what woke is. He will put the mic up to his mouth, and his entire answer would be the same MAGA answer. Well, you know, wokeness is woke. That's what it is. They can't explain what it is. They just use it as a buzzword. I actually think
it's a dog whistle. Fuck a buzzword. It's a dog whistle. Yeah. Like, you know, and again, I've said this every time I've gotten the opportunity. The woke / DEI pandemonium is nerd's fault.
Yeah.
It's a nerd's fault. And when I say this, I'm not saying this to like pat myself on the back, because I'm not, because like we failed because we didn't stop this shit. But like, this happened on our watch. It started in the Fandom Menace. Yeah. It started with all these fucking losers talking about woke this, woke that. And then a few months later, they're saying it on Fox News. And now Elon Musk is skull fucking the federal government. Like, because of DEI. And it happened on our watch.
Yep.
Like, this is this is a fucking tumor that started in our circles online, and we didn't do shit about it. It started on our watch. And that is an L that we as a nerd culture need to own forever.
Yeah, that's like, I am proud of, if I go back to like CBC episode 10, and believe it or not, the podcast is about to hit 700 episodes. So think about that for a second. Wild. I can go back to episode 10 and I hear myself and I'm like, man, I cannot wait till we have female representation. One of my favorites of all time, Captain Marvel gets her own film. Like, or Black Panther. I was glazing Black Panther since episode 1 of our show. I have never, and some people saw, like, there is evidence out there. The people that built their entire income now off the back of Last Jedi bad, Brie Larson bad, they liked The Last Jedi and were excited for Brie Larson, but it didn't get them views. It's a grift. It's a fucking grift. And that's what it is. But the average fan is too dumb, and they just pick up on a suggestion. They click to the buzzword, and they're down the rabbit hole. You know?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Again, I fundamentally do not understand what this kid is fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Again, like, I do not want to like hitch myself to the wagon of like using the terminology. But in the immortal words of Jordan from Knowledge Fight, words fucking mean things. And, you know, the word woke, as meaningless as it is at this point, because it just means like of color or queer or woman, bad, whatever. Like, this show is that.
Yeah.
This show is Spider-Man maybe at his most populist. You know, again, like going out of his way to go, hey, this person made a bad decision and shouldn't ruin their life.
Yeah.
Can we maybe figure something out? And again, I haven't finished the show. I'm not fully caught up, but I watched the first. I watched the first like 4 or 5 episodes last night, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it a lot, and I was having a great time with it. But the whole time, I'm like, what the fuck is this kid smoking?
So,
because this is the thing you just described. Yeah. It is the thing you just described. I don't get it. Like, it's somebody going like, wow, I can't wait to go to the swimming pool, jumping into the swimming pool, and then being amazed by the fact that they think they aren't wet. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I will say it's funny you brought up Jordan from Knowledge Fight. I was going to send you a meme. You know that meme where Marge is like, have you been up all night eating cheese? And Homer's just sitting there going, I think I'm blind. I listened to episode 998 to 1006 all in one day. Like 10 hours of knowledge fight content. I literally wanted to send you a meme of me saying, I think I'm Jordan now. I was like,
oh, that's so
I went to sleep. I was hearing their voices in my head talking about Alex Jones. I was like, what is happening?
Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I fucking was so happy whenever I got to look at the Spotify Wrapped for podcasts. And I realized it was like number 1 or number 2 most shared show of like the Nerd Academy listenership on Spotify is Knowledge Fight.
Good.
And I'm like,
convert.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I've secretly been working for Dan and Jordan the whole time, spreading the show like a fucking contagion. But yeah, I don't know what this means. I don't know how to process this. Again, he's a dumb fucking kid. You know, I hope that, you know, this is somebody who is, you know, learning and growing. You know, I'm very much the type of person who, you know, I can give grace. You know, I think that we need to leave room for people to grow and be better. And we can't get better if we don't allow for better. So like, I hope Hudson Thames gets his head out of his ass.
I hope Kevin Feige sits him down in the Marvel PR chair and tells him to shut the fuck up and here's your lines. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. Shut up and thwip. Shut up and thwip, kid.
Just
yeah, but I will say, Coleman Domingo, I'd like to see it live action. Norman Osborn.
Same.
I'm in. Okay. Here, you want to hear? We'll end on this. If they can't get Coleman Domingo to play a live action Norman, but we want to stick with Black Norman Osborn, Will Smith.
I knew that was coming.
It would work so well. I'm not even bullshitting you. Give me Big Willie Gobby. I need it. If Coleman can't make it, this is Will Smith's comeback role.
This is what happens when you get too high and watch Wild Wild West. It fucks with your brain chemistry. This is it.
Hey, guess what, Armin? Every time I've watched Wild Wild West, I've been sober as a fucking judge. And I love that movie. I love that fucking movie. Give me another 8-foot fucking tarantula made of fucking metal that breathes fire. Man, no, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. That movie is so goddamn good. That movie is so goddamn fun. Everybody's like, we need the middle tier fucking blockbuster again.
That is a middle tier. Yep.
Stream Wild Wild West. It will cure your depression. It's so good. I don't fucking care. That movie is so much fun, and I am so tired of everybody being like, "Oh, Jarod loves this dog shit movie, and it's a fucking bit." No, I don't love this dog shit movie. I love this great fucking Will Smith feature. Okay, it's great, and the song fucks.
I'll give you that.
Damn.
But no, I think DM has a good. I think he could be a good Norman Osborn. Honestly, like he'd have the energy to match like an evil Tony Stark. You know, like, yeah.
Because I was thinking about it. I was like, if you can't get Coleman, who do you do? And if we want to keep Black Norman Osborn a thing, and I was like, Will's the right age, and what I would love to see from it is like the way the public opinion on Will is in a weird place.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are mostly over the Oscars debacle at this point.
Yeah.
People are mostly over it, which I think they should be. You know, it was not a great moment for him, but like, Christ, like, are we really gonna crucify him for the rest of his life for this? And that said, I think there's also like a fun like verisimilitude to it. Like there's almost like a pro wrestling nature to it, where like if everybody conceives in the popular culture conceives of Norman Osborn as this like Jekyll and Hyde figure, I think that's a really interesting take for Will to then be like, like the Will Smith we all know and love is like the Norman Osborn who's, shaking hands with T'Chaka and, like that photo, like that portrait in Norman's office or with Cap or whatever. And then, like, get my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Can the Spider-Man come out and play? Like, I don't know. I think there's a there. But anyway, watch Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know what this kid's talking about, but this shit's woke as hell.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish up that. Like, I'm just waiting for it to all be wrapped up so I can finish in like an hour and a half and just be done with it.
Yeah. And I've been bad about Marvel animation. Like, I am so behind on What If. Like, I really do want to give that show a fair shake. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it.
Here, let me spoil Marvel's What If for you. It sucks.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Good faith conversations. I got to watch it for myself. But they just insist on me, who has a day job in retail, dropping it in a week. Every episode, like an episode a day, right before fucking
I will
Christmas.
be fair. I kind of hate on What If a little more than I should. It's kind of like a gimmick I put on. It's all right. As a huge Captain Carter fan, I appreciate that she's the central character, but I get why people are sick of her because she pops up all over that place. And for me, that's great. For a lot of people, it's not. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but. Yeah, and I did the same thing with X-Men 97. Like, I watched that whole fucking show in a day.
Oh, it's so
right
good.
Before the finale came out. And so, yeah, we'll be doing a season discussion for Friendly Neighborhood. So stay tuned for that. Other bits of housekeeping. Ionized Bastards is back. Final season. Whoop, whoop. Let's get it. Season premiere came out a couple weeks ago. I am probably going to be dropping this, like, in an hour from recording. So this will be out in a few hours later. Episode 2 of Ionized Bastards Season 3 will also be out. Should be recording Episode 3 in the next few days here. So stay tuned for that on the Armin Systems YouTube channel. Pro and Noob is coming back here soon. Scotty
I just scheduled Mitch's latest episode, so that should be going up soon on the... Whenever the community page allows for something to go up from somebody else, it pops up. If it doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah. Stay tuned for there because I know Ionized Bastards is going to be getting a boost there too soon. But yeah, Pro Noob's coming back here in a minute. We're going to be jumping into Cowboy Bebop. Scotty, Star Wars Celebration in Japan. His panel got approved. So we kind of had to kick the can down the road for our Scotty watched Evangelion without anybody forcing him to episode. So he's getting ready for his big panel. It will be at 3 p.m. on Friday at Star Wars Celebration. If you're there, it's basically going to be a live version of Scotty's midichlorian lecture. So if you're there, come support everybody's Bombad Boyo. So check that out. And yeah, I think that's all for me. So Armin, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Just follow me over here on this link tree. I'm active pretty much everywhere besides Twitter. I post stuff. All my social medias are different. Blue Sky, it's mostly I'll just post about random crap and some political stuff. On Instagram, it's just mostly whatever. TikTok, I rant about things. So it's different versions of me everywhere you go. So you kind of got to just look across the place. So that's really it. That's it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You guys can find me on all the places at Dark Jedi 2552, as well as the Nerd Academy podcast as well. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, now that I am no longer fighting for my life with this fucking flu, it was a little scary there for a second. Also, very tentative. I don't want to say anything out loud too forcefully, but it does look like Star Wars Celebration is coming into focus for me and Taylor. So if you guys are there, come say hey. I'll be with all the folks. I'll be with Armin. I'll be with the usual goons at Celebration as well. Like I said, please support Scotty's panel. Armin and I will be doing the Dave Chappelle crackhead meme outside of the Roosevelt's booth.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching and listening. We will see you guys next time. I forgot to get the clip ready for Cookie Cop. Oh, and thank you to our patrons, Ray Clausen and Paco. Balin Skull and Shinhati versus Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano should also be coming soon. Like I said, I was knee-deep in writing those, and then I got sick. So stay tuned for that as well. But Thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
And stream Wild Wild West.